I'm just going to drink my tea and then we'll get started. Okay then guys, what we're going to do, I was just thinking the best way to do it. What we're going to do is we're going to go down one side of the van, so we're going to go down this side first, and then we'll go down into these cabinets and work our way back up the side behind me. Yeah, coming in. We're going to start with the health and safety department on the back door. Health and safety department is made up of a first aid kit, which never gets used. If I get cut, I just sort of have to deal with it really. Fire blanket and a couple of small fire extinguishers. Don't really want to lug a big one about, so I just like to carry one of these little dinky ones next to me whilst I'm working. And that's it really. Step, I just use that for whatever I need to. Actually, I stole that from my mate Sam, which he still doesn't know, unless he watches this. Sorry mate. He stores a few bits in my workshop, so sort of, yeah, pinched it. I've got a CO2 mix. It's just a little 10 litre bottle. Again, I don't want to be lugging stuff about when I'm having to go further away from the van, so I choose not to carry a big bottle, just a little guy. And the same with the argon there. This is a 13 litre, this is a 10 litre. They're nice and cheap to refill. Obviously I have to refill them fairly often, but the place is only down the road. It's fine. Down here I just sort of chuck my ratchet straps and my chains for my winch. I probably should find a better place for those, but that's where they live most of the time. The shears. Apparently they'll do up to 6mm plate. I've never done 6mm plate. I've done 5mm. I use a lot of 5mm plate. And it will cut 5mm fairly easily. I mean, you do have to put your back into it, but it'll do it. But most of the time, it's the thinner sheet. That's 1.2mm from yesterday's job. There was some 3mm that I was doing on yesterday's job. Used it for that as well. It's great. You just need a quick cut. Is ideal, really. Just come to the back of the van. Job done. Let me show you. Should I show you? Should I show you stuff in this video? Probably. Well, what we've got down there's a bit of sheet down there. What's that? That's a bit of 3mm from the other day, isn't it? I'll show you on that. Move the ratchet straps out of the way. So it does give a nice clean edge. You can do accurate work with it, but it's not really what I use it for. I just use it if I need to just quickly cut something there and then. It also will do round bar. There's a little hole here for round bar. Apparently it will do up to 13mm. Or is it 12mm? Must be 12mm, probably half inch. Again, I have done it for that. It's an absolute pain in the ass. Not a fan of cutting round bar on it, but it will do it. As we're down here, let's just go straight to the machines, shall we? This, you would have seen this in a few of the videos. This is MIG welder, but I use it solely for flux core. I don't ever weld solid wire with this guy, so this is my quick go-to. I don't want to be lugging this big guy out, so I just take this, no gas bottle, just take it with me, plug it in, go, bang. It's wicked. It's 250 amp. It'll run off the generator really well. I don't know if I get 250 amps off that generator, I doubt it. Maybe 200, I don't actually know, but it'll weld nice and hot anyway. And if it's thick steel, then you're heating to prep it anyway, so it's always done a very good job for me. I like it. It's only a cheapo, but it's excellent. Welds really nice. Next one is my Artec 250. I've had this welder for donkey's years and it's been excellent. Love it to bits. I use this one mainly for aluminium or solid wire MIG. Sorry, for solid wire mild steel. And this one really only comes out if it has to. Obviously for aluminium, you've got to do it. You take the argon gas bottle with you, or obviously most of the time, I want to reverse my van up as close as I can to the place I'm working, and leave everything in the van if I can. I don't want to lug stuff out and in because it's just time consuming and backbreaking, so let's not do that. But it's excellent. Love it. It's always been a noble steed and very reliable. Plasma cutter, which is again a cheapo, static arc, 40 amp, cut 40, yeah, 40 amp. Again, excellent bit of kit, but broke my air compressor, didn't I? So I'm plasma cutterless at the moment. New air compressor is in the works, need to do that. Tell you what I have bought, finally, I've been very excited about this. I bought a oxyacetylene set, finally. I don't pick it up until next week because the chap that I bought it from says he needs it for one last project, so he's keeping it this week. I'll pick it up next week, and now I've got to find somewhere to put it. I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'll probably put the taller bottle here so it doesn't impact what I'm working on the vise. I'll put the taller bottle here, shorter bottle here, and then I need to fabricate something sort of here where I can wrap a long old hose, because I do not want to be taking those bottles out. I'm not going to have a trolley with it. So wherever I park, it needs to be within however many meters of hose I've got. So yeah, they're probably going to go there, and I'll shift these two gas bottles over to this side, which you'll see in a moment. There's a little gap there. So yeah, looking forward to that. I've been crying out for an oxyacetylene set for ages when I'm doing thicker work. Either trying to heat stuff up is a ball ache when all you've got is a blowtorch. And obviously there's been a few jobs where I've had to bend stuff, whether it's something that's bent and I'm there to repair it, or if it's a bend that you're putting in something thicker, you just struggle without an oxyacetylene set. So now that I've got one, really looking forward to having that. So that will kind of make the plasma cutter a little bit redundant, I think, anyway, but I am going to still get another air compressor because I want to get some air tools eventually. I don't use air tools, I use electric, but a needle scaler would be nice. That'd save me a lot of effort dicking about with rust, paint, all the usual crap that you have to dick about with. So yeah, that's the plasma cutter. I've just grabbed the tripod quickly. Just want to show you the old school vise. This thing I got off my friend Sam. I didn't steal it, honestly. He gave this one to me. This handle used to be about 1 meter long. I kid you not, it was massive. I had to cut it down. But this thing's got some decent bite to it. It is very, very old school. It works extremely well, and I use it all the time. Great bit of kit. I did weld that on there. That's to do with leveling out for the saw when I've got a long length on there. We'll come to that. But yeah, brilliant vise, love it. We'll move on to the folder, shall we? So, for those of you who didn't see the video the other day where I was having to bend that bit of 4mm plate, the folder is 500mm maximum width in the fold, and it's rated to 1/8 inch, so just over 3mm. And basically the other day I had a bit of an issue where I needed to bend a full width piece, or put it, I think it was very nearly full width, and as it turned out I'd end up picking up a piece of 4mm from the workshop, not 3mm. So it wouldn't do it comfortably, manually. So basically I was giving it all the, it just wasn't happening. So what I did is I welded this piece of 70x10 flat bar to it, took my rapid lift car jack, which we'll show you in a minute, and basically just cut a big block of wood, and that now sits under there and it jacks it up, and it'll, well, I did a bit of 5mm yesterday, 5mm by 300 it was, and it had no problem whatsoever. So I feel like the actual folder can handle more than 1/8 inch, definitely. It's more the user's ability to actually do it. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so that was the treat now. But I love this. This gets a ton of use. Whether it's a little bracket that I need to fabricate, you know, car body work, obviously you're always putting little folds in that, and it's just a pain in the arse. But this guy comes in useful all the time. Love having that in the van. I'd be lost without that thing. Vice, this guy. I did gloss over the machines a little bit, didn't I? Maybe I'll talk about those a little bit more when we get to the generator, but there's not really much to say. MIG welder, both 250 amp, use them for different things. Plasma cutter, TIG welders over there, we'll get to that. This is my old school trusty tool belt. When I used to work in the workshop, before I went mobile, I used to wear this thing every day. And it had everything. It had my square, my tape, pencils, not that, that's something I use now. Obviously ruler, even had a little pen in here, little Sharpie. Just a world of stuff really. Center punch, obviously my hook for when I was using an impact or a drill. I'd wear that every day. I wore that. Nowadays it just sits there, just storing stuff really. But things that I use a lot, like my square, is always obviously coming out, and I like to just keep it in there, just for old time's sake really. Do miss the tool belt, I'll be honest with you. Little mirror, really handy for doing, again, mainly cars. You know, just have a look underneath, see what's there. Oh, I've actually upgraded that. Don't know if I said that at the start of the video. There's a store. I've got an inspection camera down there, which we'll get to, and there's a story behind that. Won't tell you in this video unless I've already done it at the beginning. But long old story. But basically, these are good for cars. This and the inspection camera, because you never know what bloody crap lurks behind what you're welding. Mask, obviously. Gonna need that if you're gonna be in this world. Your lungs are just constantly being attacked by grinding dust and welding fumes and general rubbish. So I wear this a lot. You'll see me wearing that a lot in videos. Face shield, it's a Jackson. I don't really know who Jackson are, if I'm honest, but yeah, it's lasted me quite a while. I have changed one of the visors once, but excellent. Good face shield. Ruler hangs here. These are my big lights. Just, you know, when I'm out and about at night. So that's all that really. Now over here, yeah, so behind the tool belt lurks a couple of levels. Little electronic one there, another little electronic spirit level, and a little dinky fella, which just stays on there. Ah, the magnet, guys. Nearly forgot the magnet, didn't we? Oh, I'm gonna have to show you this in action. I did this in a video the other day, but I don't think I've put that video out yet. Let me see if I can find some rubbish. There's always, bloody near it as well. There's always rubbish over here. Yeah. All that swarf from where I've been cutting on the saw. Magnet. Oh, I do like the magnet. We'll just get underneath the saw so we can get a decent amount on there. Over here, there'll be more here. It gets everywhere really. You get the picture. The more you've got, the more it will gather. And then you simply pull the end, which is difficult to do with one hand. 2 secs. You heard that. It just drops off. And you push that guy back in, and you're back to having it magnetised. Good bit of kit. Anyway, back over to this bit down here. These two boxes are so miscellaneous, I must admit. There's just bits of, you know, there's a bit of 10mm plate there, but equally there's, you know, a tiny bit of aluminium there. Everything and anything goes in here. So that's like an M12 bolt, bit of box, just stuff, you know, just little shims that I you know, you'll end up needing on site at some point. And they're here. What's that? What's that one now? See, that's something I've clearly cut at some point and gone, oh, well, I'll just keep that. I'll throw it in the orange boxes. So they just house a ton of little bits. Pen pot, obviously, Sharpies and all that. These guys down here, these house a world of little just driver bits. My little step drill bit. This is brilliant, by the way. Impact duty step drill bit. This, believe it or not, will quite happily gun through 10mm steel. Excellent bit of kit. In here, little flathead, little right angle thing. Oh, these guys we're going to get to these. These are for my fireball tool squares, little stands that you sit up on. What we've got in here, little center finder. I'm sure you know what that is, but I'm just gonna let me just show you on here. Right, you say you want to draw a line down the center of this guy. You put your pen in the middle, in that black space there. Bring it there, like that, and just scribe it down the middle. And obviously it'll find the center of anything that's less than what, 100 mil, whatever that width is. Quite a useful thing. Just makes things a bit quicker. These again come off the fireball tool square, and that'll all make sense when we show you the fireball tool square in a bit. Squares. Just some miscellaneous drill bits and some more miscellaneous. It's like a ball and socket extension for either the breaker bar or something else, or you know, the gun, and some other little socket in there. This guy, do I use this as much as I thought I would? No, definitely a gimmick, but I have used it, as you can see. Whatever was on there. Little pen stores up in there, yeah, up in there. And obviously it's just a calculator, but it's also a little scribble pad for you to write down whatever you need to write down, and then you just hit the button and it goes again. So 400 mil, blah blah, hit that, it's gone. It is quite cool. I do use it, you know, when I actually need it, when I do need to jot stuff down, but no, it doesn't get as much use as I thought it would. I think it would if I was on site making stuff more often, but more often than not, I'm on site repairing something, and you just, you know, you're grinding, you're welding, you don't necessarily need to be writing. Right, so after the little boxes, you've got the chargers. So there's a Milwaukee 18 volt and little 12 volt added in, Makita for the Makita stuff. DeWalt's got a battery on there. Another battery on the top one there. In here, just some little tabs. I tend to use these little tabs, well, anytime I need to screw something in. Some slightly bigger, elongated tabs. I think they're, what, 8 mil. Again, handy to have. Some larger, 5 mil thick tabs. Some little washers in there. And that's it for those. Hanging up on here, we have our little clamps. Love these. These are absolutely brilliant. Again, in that last video, I used the fireball tool squares, and these guys come into their own even more so then. But equally, I used them yesterday when I was doing some sheet metal work on the bus. Obviously, mole grips, bigger versions of those clamps, ear defenders, and all that jazz. Up in that box, I really don't think I'm going to get all this stuff down, guys. I might get one or two down, but I mean, this one weighs a ton. In there, I've got my, there's a bottle of acetone in there, which obviously I use for cleaning. There's a few little leads, like the little 13 amp adapter when you need it for the welders. There's a blowtorch in there. There's some, what even is there? Weld spatter, spray stuff in there. Up here, what have we got up here? This guy, I don't know if you've ever seen one of those, but it can be quite handy if you're carrying a heavy sheet of something. Definitely not like a big piece of plate, but it'll work for wood or whatever. I just keep that anyway. Some gloves, tissues, and a little box that you can take out if you need to take a load of fixtures with you, like bolts or washers, etc. Here we go, the big fella. So this big guy. Love this saw. It's excellent bit of kit. Again, not expensive, this one. It's quite a cheapo, but it's brilliant. I used to have a monster bandsaw here in the workshop, but obviously that was never going to go into the van, so I bought this guy to go into the van, and I'm pleased to say it's excellent. It's very good. It'll chomp through steel with ease. Doesn't really like stainless. I'm pretty sure it does say stainless on the blade. I feel like it does say stainless on the blade, I'll be honest with you. Or maybe it doesn't. I can't remember. But I wouldn't use it for stainless. I'd go abrasive for stainless, I think. Although I don't actually have an abrasive, but I'll just use the 9-inch grinder for that. Anyway, that's that. Beneath it is my generator. It's an 8.5 kilowatt. It's got two 16 amp 110 outputs. It's got one 32 amp 240 output, which I downgrade to my 16 amp purely because I only have a 16 amp extension lead. So when I'm having to extend out of the van, obviously I can't run off 32 amp, which is a bit annoying. I would prefer to, but yeah, I need to get a 32 amp extension lead for that. Annoyingly, you probably heard me complaining about this at some point, but the exhaust did fall off. That used to sit on there, and then it goes out the side under the wheel arch. But it came off the other week, and I just haven't put it back on, which is makes it louder, and obviously it reeks in here. So I do need to sort that out, and I will do in the next few days. We're going back up to the top. First box. This is just my Welding Consumables box. So I keep my little MIG welding flexi torch in here. A few of you have asked, like, can you switch over your regular Euro torch for one of these? If you don't switch it, it goes on the end. Yeah. So that little 6mm thread, here, I've just got the MIG torch out to show you. So this is just a regular MB25. Obviously you take your shroud off, where your welding tip is, that just comes in and out on an M6 thread. Well, this guy will go into that same M6 thread. And then all you do is once it's in, you just slot this rubber shroud over the top, which obviously then keeps your gas in, and there you go. It will just feed out the end of your flexi torch. So it's really simple. I can't possibly tell you how important that thing has been to me. It is expensive. I want to say they're like 150, 160 quid for this. I want to say something like that. Brilliant. It's called a FlexiMig 360. If you want to Google it. Brilliant. What else have we got in here? Just, you know, it's just bits, you know, just stuff that I've cut off. Bit of stainless wire for the spool gun, stainless TIG welding rods, mild steel TIG welding rods, tungstens, they've all fallen out of there, that's great. Little magnetic earth clamp, that comes in handy every now and then if I need it. Another spool of aluminium, earth clamp, spare earth clamp. You know, just stuff. And then there's all at the bottom. There's all manner of cups for the TIG torch, consumables for the plasma cutter. First box. Box number 2 is running dangerously low at the moment. This is my consumables box for the grinders. So you've got various cutting discs, 1mm, various knackered flap wheels. I do like to keep the knackered ones because you don't always want one with a ton of bite on it. Most of the time you do. Various 6mm grinding stones. There's a few 3mm ones in there. There's lots of orbital pads in there because I used to have a working orbital. It's now broke. Excellent, brilliant, well done. Lots of these flat 3M fellas. Earbuds, lenses for the Miller welding mask. Yeah, I'm running properly low. There's normally a ton of 6mm stones and 40 grit flap wheels in here. I can't find a single new flap wheel. They're all older ones. Clearly I need some more of them. Yeah. So that's that one. Next one. Pretty miscellaneous this. This is mostly just screws, you know, just concrete screws if you're around to screw stuff in. Obviously I've got some floor anchor bolts, some proper bolts, but these are just little concrete screws. Little wood screws, you know, just screws, really. Ooh. What's he stuck on? Jesus. This one's got a bit of weight. Got some more of those 8mm elongated tabs. Again, can be useful. Bolts. Some more tabs. These are all tabs that I've had made up for various different applications and then just kept a ton of them just because I thought they might be useful at some point. It's like, look, there's another whole box of these which weigh a ton. They were mainly from my old business where we used to fabricate in the workshop a lot. This was not the workshop, by the way. We had a full setup. I've spoken about that before. I've sold all of my gear now. So I used to have a big setup in the workshop with, you know, proper welding tables and proper equipment and proper guys who did proper work, not like this cowboy here. Do you know what I mean? So, little adjustable feet, carabiner hooks, big, small, a few little rollers, a few bits of plate that I had like just knocking about, some bigger flexi adjustable feet with a 12mm thread. I've got to be honest, I don't really know why I lug this lot around. Occasionally it comes in handy, occasionally. And in the box underneath it, it's full of these little hinges. Again, occasionally I grab one and they are useful. And then the last box up here is full of cans of sprays, various WD-40, contact adhesive, clear lacquer, spray grease. That was I think an anthracite 8019. What was that? That's like a brown, I think. That was from an old project. Some white, more contact adhesive, bin bags for the bin behind me, various sellotapes, adhesives, electrical tape, cleaning thing for the impact driver if I need to just get a load of grime off, cable ties, paint brushes, more glues, just stuff, okay? Little hook for the torch here. My two little torches, they tend to stay there, the DeWalt one, and then this little guy is just a little magnetic fella, which I tend to use. I use that a lot actually. You'll probably see that in a lot of videos just because it gets stuck to a bit of framework when I'm up in a corner trying to weld and the light's not great. He's useful. Gauntlets are hanging up here on the rail. So pillar drill, I don't use the pillar drill an awful lot. I use it if I'm making up a plate for something and it's got, say, 4 or 5 holes in it. I will pilot drill with this guy and then I'll open it up with a bigger drill bit on a better machine than this. Mainly with a hand drill, to be honest with you, with that. Or the impact with the step drill bit. That thing's bloody superb. If you're making say a 10mm plate and it's going on something and it's got 4 holes, 1 in each corner, I'll pilot drill it on this and then I'll gun open the holes with the impact bit. Honestly, it's quicker than using anything else. You'd be mental to set up say a mag drill instead of using that. By the time you set it up, you're done. Like you've done and had a cup of tea by that point. It's that thing is awesome. Anyway, where were we going with that? Yeah, so I don't really use the pillar drill an awful lot. It gets a bit of use every now and then, and this little fella runs off my power bank. power bank's nearly dead because I didn't charge it yesterday and I used it all day. So yeah, that's still a drill. A couple of pairs of glasses which I never wear. I literally have no idea why they're even there. Down here in the box, this is where I keep like my little microphones for the recordings. This is my broken receiver. Snap the end off, the bit that goes into your iPhone. That wound me up yesterday, but yeah, I need to get a new one of them. My little air gun. This guy also has a torch, clearly. Just really useful. It's clearly not the most powerful machine in the world, but I tell you what, it was very useful for yesterday working on that bus. All the seam sealer that wanted to set on fire behind where I couldn't get to it to grind it, I would run a little bit of a weld, a few tacks, and then stop, get this in behind, and it would just blow it out before it can really get a chance to get going. I like it for that reason. It's not a replacement for an air compressor, clearly, but it is useful just to have, just, you know, next to you whilst you're working. Yeah, so that was this little fella here, and there's your box, your bits. This is my little radiator, which I run off this guy as well. It's only a little 500 watt, but it's perfect for when it's been raining. I've got 3 or 4 pairs of gloves that I rotate, and basically they go on here in between, they dry, so that you're not touching stuff with wet gloves. Because you're gonna die, aren't you? Let's be honest. So you don't want to do that. That's that. Like I said, my power bank is pretty dead. Oh, it's got more charge than I thought it had. Anyway, USB charge for these. You know, these charge my little microphones and my phone. And then obviously AC. Pump it onto there. There we go. See, I knew it was talking shit. It didn't have 65%. I'm surprised it's got that much, to be honest. I used it all day yesterday. So this guy's all right, you know. It lasts a good day and a half of charging my DeWalt batteries, which are currently charging now. And various other bits, you know, all the other batteries. But it's excellent. It'll run the fridge, the little drill bit sharpener. It'll run this guy. And this guy, obviously not at the same time. It doesn't want to do that because it'll just you'll drain it. But it is a good bit of kit. I think it's definitely more dead than it's reading because it's going down quite quick now. But yeah, it does need a good charge up. I haven't charged it in a day or two. That's my fridge. I don't think there's anything in there. A couple of cans of cider and a beer. They've been in there for quite a long time. That's my little drill bit sharpener, just because it's just quicker to do it on that. Is that it? Oh no, under here. Got my Hoover in the corner there. Little extension lead, another extension lead. This that blue wire coming from the cab comes up here, and it's that guy there that comes off the inverter, and I don't know why I've got that unplugged at the moment, but that is for the power bank, which then charges off the alternator when the van's running. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is what keeps the transit going on a day-to-day basis. It's just a cheapo jump pack. I had to buy it in a mad rush because I broke down in London once, but it's done me proud. It's a good little jump pack, that. Finally, up here, before we go down the other side, you've got a couple of lifting straps. A couple of high vises. That guy there is he's a tube sander and attachment for the grinder. Quite useful when you're doing railings and whatnot. Dustpan and brush. These foam guys used to be stuck to the ceiling just to kill a bit of sound in here when I'm running the saw and stuff, but they all fell down basically. That's pretty much it. So that's it for this side, isn't it? We've covered pretty much all of that. You can see where all of that is. Did we do the generator? We did do the generator, didn't we? Yeah, there's not much to say. It's just a generator, but it does a good job. It runs all the stuff as hot as it can. It might even run them hotter if it was running on the 32 amp, but obviously we downgrade to the 16 amp. Probably not. I think it's pretty much maxed out, but it does a good job. and with a bit of prep work you can weld some pretty thick stuff. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to switch over and we're going to start going through that lot there. Anyway, right, we're going down this side now. We're going to start on the top of the two cabinets. We have just a tool bag, obviously for chucking tools in when whatever it is not directly outside my van, but I can't park next to it and I need to grab grinders, drills, hand tools, whatever. I chuck it in here and I go. So that is my porta power. It lives up there at the back. I'm sure you all know what a porta power is, but there's various attachments. This, so basically it's a hydraulic, it's a hydraulic pump. You stick the attachments on the end. There's a little ram, actually a ram there. Over to here. So basically you stick various attachments on, so that's obviously going to open up if you want to open something up. And then there's all sorts of extension bars, different attachments. That's like a floor plate, obviously. You want to sit it down on the floor. A little rubberized one, which is cool if you're not looking to cause too much damage. But it's just a handy bit of kit, you know, if you're trying to bend something back into shape or move something over before it can be welded. This is a really handy bit of kit. I think it's a 10 ton, so it's not mega strong, but is it a 10 ton? 10 ton. Anyway, the other stuff that we've got up here, try and get you a better angle if I can. Down the back there's a couple of 3-ton jacks, a couple of 5-ton toe jacks. They're really handy because they've got, I'm sure you all know what a toe jack is, but you've got this toe which obviously when you've put it down to the bottom there is obviously a real low entry to something. Very handy. These are just little cheapo Vevor fellas. Vevor, whatever. 2.5 ton on this capacity on the toe, and 5 tons capacity on the top. So they're not, again, mega strong, but they are useful for lifting bits that you can't really get underneath too well. These, I think I showed you the other day, they're scissor jacks. Actually, I think they're motorcycle jacks, but they have got a nice little 21mm socket fella on them, so I stick my gun on that. Again, they're great if you're underneath something and you're, you know, needing to just lift something up to get it into spot to weld it. So there, 2 of those, they're brilliant. As we make our way down, let's get the torch, shall we? As we make our way down here, this, you will remember, it used to look like that. Well, it had 4 drawers, but they broke, didn't they? So all I've done is I've shoved a nice big chunky bit of wood in there, and that now houses the TIG welder, a little 110 transformer, and my radio, which no longer gets used because I can't listen to the radio because YouTube tell me off, don't they? So if I'm recording, then there's no radio. Bit of a bugger, so it doesn't get used. That's sticky, isn't it? Right, so in this drawer, this is pretty miscellaneous at the moment. I haven't sorted this one out, but basically at the moment it's just the big bad boy Milwaukee saw, which you've all seen, I'm sure. That's an excellent bit of kit. The shears, which you've probably seen as well. And the rest of it is all really miscellaneous. A bloody post level, haven't used that for donkey's years. M12 bolts, more M12 bolts, longer ones. Some spray. What else is in there? Little chocks for the wheels. More 12mm bolts. Fault code reader. Some long masonry bits. Some plugs. Just stuff, really. Just stuff. Needless to say, whilst I locked the drawers here, That's really just to stop them from flinging open when I'm driving, because if somebody's broken into your van, I don't think they're going to be stumped by an old filing cabinet. I do have locks in here that I have fabricated myself from the outside. You don't see them, and for obvious reasons I'm not going to show you where they are, because that would just be stupid, but I'm pretty happy with them. So yeah, I do lock these cabinets, but it's really just to stop them from flinging open. Right, we're going to have a look up here in this little cabinet. A few bits on the side. These are just some little clamps that I use time to time just to hold, you know, lighter weight stuff on. Some little hex fillers. Got in here, just stuff. Little discs for the die grinders in there. Not a lot in there. It's just some like little picks and drill fella. What we've got in here? An old ruler. Pretty sure belonged to my son. A couple of electrical fellows. A few spanners. Little tri-square scraper. Again, it's all very miscellaneous. This is just sort of my dumping ground. I just sort of shove stuff in there. That's quite handy. That's quite handy. So that, you stick it on the end of your breaker bar, and you're able to really, you know what I mean, break stuff off. That's actually really good. I've used that several times. It's brilliant. Again, very miscellaneous. There's a couple of sockets. Yeah, lots of little sockets, really. Pliers. Some of the Weir set is in there. What's that one now? Oh, that's the little 1/4 inch ball and socket guy. So that's all that. There's nothing really in there. I used to put welding rods in there, then stick out the top, stick welding rods, but then I realised that was stupid because it just gets damp in here. So I stopped doing that. Right, top drawer is most of the batteries, M18 batteries, M12 batteries go into here. You've got a Makita file sander there. I do like that bit of kit. Little 110 Makita grinder there. DeWalt batteries, Milwaukee batteries, some Cobalt drill bits in there. Some, what are they? They're the carbide bits, aren't they? Little carbide bits for the grinder, for the die grinder. And that's pretty much it. Oh, and a couple of 9-inch discs, a 6mm, a couple of 3mm. Oh, I think that might be a 2.5 actually. That's a cutting disc in it. And that's it for that drawer. Next drawer, after all the other ones broke, I used to separate my DeWalt and my Milwaukee's because there was another drawer there, but there's not now. So, DeWalt recip saw. I use that for cutting bolts off and whatnot if it's all a bit awkward. SDS drill, if your bolting is concrete. Impact. Flathead grinder, really slim head on it. Great grinder, love it. Let's go for the DeWalt first. DeWalt drill. Another DeWalt impact, another DeWalt drill, another DeWalt impact, which I was in the middle of fixing because I broke that one. I got into that one a bit too much. Another DeWalt grinder, flathead. Currently I've knackered the little, what would you call it? Look, you know, the stopper. There's a name for it. I've knackered that, so I just need to fix that one and I can start using it again. And finally, a right angle drill, which occasionally comes in. And then for the Milwaukee gear, we have a 3/8 impact with a little 6 amp hour battery on it. Milwaukee drill. This is my go-to drill. This has got a lot more power than the DeWalt ones. Really powerful actually for a little handheld drill. Excellent. Heat gun. Straight die grinder. And and a right angle diamond grinder. And that's it. Those are my power tools that I like to use. I do tend to use the 110 grinder, obviously if I'm doing a lot of grinding, or the 9-inch grinder, which we'll get to in a moment. I'll show you what's in the bottom drawer. So, bottom drawer, I have some hole saws, which I'll happily cut through some thinner sheet with this. Anything up to sort of 5mm, these will happily cut through. Anything thicker and you're starting to ask a bit much of it. Little laser socket set, just sockets. Little what's what I'm looking for? SDS bits. Again, bolting stuff down into concrete, always handy. What are they called? Recip saw blades. And now we come to the good stuff. Fireball tool. You heard of Fireball tool? You must have. Fireball tool are an American company run by a chap called Jason, and basically you can find him on YouTube. If you just search Fireball tool, it'll come up. But basically they make all manner of cool fixtures for mainly workshop based metal workers, you know, squares, stuff where you're working in conjunction with a table fixture, a fixture table. But these things are absolutely excellent. So I've got a few of these. I've got two of these squares here, which are excellent. If you wanted to, what you take is one of those small clamps there, 200mm depth. I mean, it's 200mm. So basically, obviously your 200mm here ish, whatever it is, 210, and obviously then flat face to flat face, you can change it. All right, dude, I'm doing a YouTube video. Oh, nice. Sorry, I was chatting to one of my neighbours here at the workshop. Lovely bloke. Anyway, where was I? I was talking about the squares, wasn't I? Anyway, this is really good. They've got all manner of different places, and basically those little tabs that I was talking about earlier, you take your little tabs and you can secure them. These are all threaded, these little holes. You can secure them to any of the faces, and then basically that just keeps everything nice and flat. As well as those little feet, you can thread those into there, sit those off the ground a little bit if your ground's uneven, and then obviously once you've got three, you create yourself a nice little flat surface anyway to work off. So you can work off the ground with these things, and they're excellent, help you keep all your workpiece square. And then when it comes to this one, this type, you see I've got a load of them fixed to the back of that anyway. These are great because when you're getting in, I've got all these on. I was using it for a particular application where I was lying flat and I had stuff off this. But you've obviously got your 45-degree angles, and then when you're getting into something like that, you can't see that. When you're getting into something like this and it's nice and square, you still have open area to get welding. Watch a couple of their videos, it'll all make a lot more sense from them than it does from me. And then I've got two small ones as well, 100 by 150. They've obviously all got those elongated holes as well to get your clamps through. Just wicked, really good. Obviously I'm not sponsored by them, let me just get that clear. Not sponsored by anyone. We had this before, didn't we? Look at the state of me. I'm not sponsored by anyone, you know that. That's it. I think that's it. Is that it? I also normally carry a DeWalt circular saw that goes in there, and I just use that for wood if I ever have to cut down a bit of wood. And that's it for that far corner. Yeah, it just stays there. I've got a spanner set, obviously. Goes up to 32, 6mm to 32. They get a fair amount of use. In here, there's all manner of stuff, just miscellaneous bolts, riv nuts, screws, small bolts, self-tappers. You know, just stuff. Welding masks. My Miller is still my favourite, though it's still broken and I haven't even begun to look at why. That was my spare. Little 240 extension lead goes back there. On top of here, a couple of tapes, 8m, 5m, a couple of backing pads, little driver bit things, miscellaneous drill bits, more drill bits, step drills, some CT90. There's a few taps in there. There's another tap set. I haven't shown you the tap set. It's in the box over there. It's just a tap set. Yeah, that's it up there. I do like this big fella. This is obviously a drill vise. It goes on the drill most of the time if I'm needing to pin something down, but I do like to take it with me in the tool bag, just in case I need to grab something and you know, give it a bit of a cut when I'm not here in the van with the big vise. Bin, because you need a bin. A couple of little tubes, they go into the toe jacks. A little magnetic fella there. A couple of magnets that have fallen down there. Clearly they're not very good magnets, which is why they stay here and don't actually get used. This is the updated offcuts bin. So I've got rid of loads of stuff the other day. So what we've got left is just all different miscellaneous stuff. Let me grab the torch. So you've got a piece of 10mm bar there, 300mm by 100mm by 3mm flat bar, bit of 50 by 50 box, 30mm by 5mm flat, some 6mm bar, a few welding rods randomly, and just lots and lots of different sizes of round bar, flat bar, bit of box section, bit of angle, everything. Threaded bar down there as well. Down here we've got various bits of plate, 1.2mm, 3mm, 5mm, a bit of aluminium, and down the back there's a few bits of 10mm, just knocking about. Right, over here, tape, 5m fella. He's my favourite tape to use with a little magnetic end, so it stays there. This is basically all of my hand tools that I use all the time. They all just stay in here. So on the top here we've got an assortment of random tools, little adjustable, little mini pipe wrench, a couple of big bits of bar that I use as punches. There's a punch set in there. This is my Welding driver bit set, again pretty handy. Milwaukee set, I'll tell you what's in here. It's the other little guy. I did snap the end of that, but it still works fine, still going the impact. Again, that'll only go up to 12mm, but it's excellent. In fact, I use that more than the big one. Just random, you know, driver bits really, but they're all impact proof and they're good. Sockets, 17mm, 19, 21, 13, 10, and a little half-inch adapter fella. Wire wheels, in here I purposely just leave a 10mm on my little Welding guy, because that's for batteries. Constantly having to take batteries off, whether it's a car, a dump truck, a van, whatever, the battery's got to come off in it. A couple of little spanners for the die grinder, CT90 head torch, snips, pry bar, a couple of center punches, and a chisel in there. 240 16 amp, 110 16 amp sit on the top there. Next shelf down we've got various hammers, pry bars, spanner, pipe wrench, yeah, just some stuff in there really. This is the inspection camera. Like I said, there's a story behind that one. If I haven't told you at the start of the video, in short, nearly blew up a car. Not my fault. Somebody shoved a load of shit up inside the wing. Didn't know about it. And yeah, the car was basically on fire, virtually. In fact, no, it was on fire, but I managed to put it out. But had I had one of these, I'd have known all about all the foam, polystyrene and crap that they'd shoved up in the wing before it happened. Anyway, use it a lot now, just to double check yourself. Multimeter, chisel for the SDS bit, aluminium, steel, wire brushes, just in case I want them. A little copper hammer for if you've been delicate. Next shelf down, guys. 70-18 welding rods in the back there. Some gouging rods in here. That's a grease gun, old school grease gun. There's a torque wrench in here. Various clamps and little lifting guys in here. Yeah, all very useful really. A couple of bits of larger plate which just didn't happen to fit down there. It's not always this empty on the plate front, by the way. Just before I started the video, I did take out a big sheet of 3mm and a big sheet of 1.2mm, which were from yesterday's job, and I just sit them down there behind the jack, just for transit. But yeah, they came out before the video. Kneeling mat, that sort of folds out. Yeah, save your knees from dying. Blocks of wood, either to be used as bearers or for an incredibly high-tech folding system. Ah, the old winchy. I do like this winch. You've probably all seen these. They're just a very crude hand winch on a steel cable, and they're just a very useful bit of kit if used in conjunction with the chain, especially. You can pull anything, you know, straight, etc., that you need to get it into place before you weld it. I use that thing a lot. It's good, like it. And the 9-inch grinder, which again, if you've got a lot of grinding to do, or if you're cutting something rather chunky, that guy has got more power to do it, and it'll get the job done quicker. Up on the rack, we've got a couple of sash clamps here. My broom, this is the stand for the big lights there. And then there's just a couple of lengths of material really. There's a bit of tube there, a bit of 50 by 50 box. There's a bit of 50 by 25 box. There's a long level. I think there's a bit of 25 by 3 box up there. That's about it really. I watered that down the other day because it was just too much weight in the van. When I put this new guy in, I realised I just had too much stuff in the van, so I got rid of it. On the front here, a couple of very small weld dogs. I'm sure you all know what a weld dog is if you're watching a welding channel, but for those of you who don't know what it is, small one, large one. Basically, they started life as a regular C clamp or G clamp, whatever you want to call it. And is they different? C clamp, G clamp? I don't know. Don't really care. But they started life as a regular clamp. You cut it in half, and then basically the idea is that if you're working on a flat surface, like a floor, so you've got a steel floor, whether it's, I don't know, a landing pad for a staircase or a ramp for a forklift going in and out of a workshop, whatever it is, if it's flat on the floor and you're replacing a part of it or whatever, you can always get a situation where it's one sitting up further than the other and you can't get it flat and it's far too heavy for you to be stamping down or whatever. You take one of these guys, you weld onto the floor, screw it down, bring it down, get them all level, run your weld, and then just break it off, hammer it off, or cut it off, whatever you want. They're just really handy. When you need one, you need one. So they just sit on there. Over here, I've got a couple of these little mag switch, little switchable magnets. Stronger than they look, they do hold a fair bit. little bit of the plate and whatnot. If they need to be held in place, I use them. They're quite handy. And if not, these ones that are holding the weld dogs on, they're strong as hell. They're proper strong. D-rings. Don't know where the one that I'm actually using. I used one the other day. I don't know what I've done with that. But obviously you all know what a D-ring is. Again, if I just need to shackle something down, especially when I'm using the winch, you just weld that to the floor or to the wall or whatever it is you're welding on. Basically just use it as a fixing point or a pulling point or something. I've got a bunch of them. There is one that I've been using. I don't know where it is. And then finally, well, almost finally, up here, a 240 extension, a 110 extension. They go in conjunction with the 2 extension leads I've got up there, just to extend them further. Don't use them that often, really. Sledgehammer, that gets used a lot because I don't have an oxy settling set. Bearers, these 2 guys, you've seen them before, they slide into the back of the van. Oh, I'm gonna have to probably show you that in a minute, aren't I? I'm running out of battery on my phone. This bit of tube has got a 3mm wall on it. It's not massively strong, but I use it as an extension to the breaker bar or the big spanner when I use that. One goes in there. The other one goes in there. You either clamp what you're working with directly to these, or you lay a sheet of steel or a sheet of wood or something across the top, and it's just your workbench to get stuff off the floor. Or if you're working with something and wanting to grind it and it's too big to be fitting in the vise, you can clamp it to these. Obviously they wiggle around a little bit, but also they're not going anywhere. And underneath I have actually drilled holes, and these guys have got, even though they're in a thin wall, they've got threads in them, so you can gun them to the chassis and it's fine. Well, the tubes that are attached to the chassis. And that's it. I just need to show you around the side door. Something dropped out. As you can see, this is just where I keep my various cables, etc. Spool gun for aluminium. TIG torch, that's a secondary TIG torch. There's one already on it, which is a nice little WP9, nice little dinky one. I like that one. Just gets into the places. If I need to weld hotter, this guy can take more heat. Stick welding, little ESAB torch, I like that one. That's a 32 split into 2 16s, and then down here I've got a little stick welding torches which come with the smaller welder and the TIG welder it came with. And then you've got your 2 extension cables here for when I'm, particularly when I'm stick welding. I think are they 15 meters or 10 meters? I can't remember. I want to say they're 10 meters. And that's it. Just remember, the last thing I haven't shown you is my ladder system. I'm not going to get it down, but I'll quickly show you. All I've done is just fabricate a little folded plate which goes up into the ceiling, and this fella here who holds him on. The back of it is just held by a simple bungee cord, but that's wicked. It doesn't move anywhere. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the tour of my welding van setup, and yeah, if you haven't seen any of my other videos, check them out. You'll notice that this video has been a lot cleaner. You'll find some swearing and a bit more naughtiness in the other videos. Sorry about that. I think I've shown you everything now. Anyway, have a good day, guys. I've got to do some work. I've got to cut some 5mm plate now, so I'll get on with that, and see you soon. Cheers.